Moments that were not supposed to happen at WWE WrestleMania. Let's watch.
WrestleMania moments that were never supposed to happen. Number
Come on.
10, Shane McMahon tears his quad, WrestleMania 39. WrestleMania 39 featured a completely unexpected return as the prodigal son Shane McMahon returned to WWE to challenge The Miz. McMahon received a hero's welcome from the audience, yet this applause quickly turned to concern when McMahon was lying in a heap on the mat. It turned out that during a leapfrog attempt, the former European champion had tore his quad. An injury of this magnitude happening during a live WrestleMania broadcast put WWE in a very difficult position. Yet thanks to quick communication, WWE improvised and they had Snoop Dogg quickly punch The Miz and follow it up with a people's elbow. WWE and their talent must be prepared for anything, and the aftermath of McMahon's injury couldn't have been handled any better. Number 9, the Blade Jobs WrestleMania 8. During the early 90s, WWE had a strict no blood policy, and this applied to all wrestlers across the board. However, when it came to WrestleMania 8, two wrestlers decided a little bloodshed would enhance their respective matches. First, during Bret Hart's match with Roddy Piper, Hart bladed, and he did such a convincing job with making it look like he was busted open in a legitimate manner that he avoided a fine and any punishment. Well, the same could be said for Ric Flair, as the prone blader decided to blade during his WWE title showdown versus the Macho Man, and it was so obvious what Flair had done that Vince McMahon fined both men a reported figure of $500,000. According to the late Lonnie Poffo during an interview with Inside the Ropes, Flair obtained genuine heat from McMahon, yet Poffo admits the crowd loved the incorporation of blood into the title matchup. Rick caught some legitimate heat from Vince McMahon for blading during the match and was fined. Things had changed since I did that blade job for Andre the Giant. The company didn't want the boys blading at that point, but Rick knew how fans reacted to seeing blood staining his blonde hair and did it anyway. Vince was mad, but the fans loved it. Number 8, the Big Show spot gets cut short, WrestleMania 33. For the most part, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 33 was a typical Battle Royal. However, the early elimination of the Big Show did come as a huge surprise, as Big Show was one of the biggest names in the match. It was reported at the time that Big Show was unhappy backstage, as he was supposed to have an extended spot in the match with Braun Strowman, and the spot was reportedly cut short by numerous wrestlers failing to let the moment breathe. Former WWE star Sean Waltman, aka X-Pac, would discuss the blunder on his radio show, and this is what Waltman had to say.
Before the thing was even over, Big Show had a bunch of guys that were in the Battle Royal back in the back, and he was going off.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was over the stuff with him and Strowman. Because they had a moment there, you know, and I think the moment got taken from him too quick.
Number 7, Dominic Mysterio throws water at his sister, WrestleMania 39. WrestleMania 39 saw Rey and Dominic Mysterio finally collide in a 1v1 matchup. The match lived up to expectations, and it was a perfect match to bring an acclaimed rivalry to a close. Now, an interesting fact about the WrestleMania 39 matchup is that Dominic went off script and threw the water at his sister. This unplanned spot was a great move, as it took the intensity of the match to the next level, and Daddy Dom himself offered some insight on the improvised spot during an appearance on the Ring of Wrestling show.
I didn't know I was going to throw a drink at my sister. I kind of walked down and I saw her holding a cup, and I was like, this dumbass is holding a cup. So I grabbed it and I was going to drink it. I saw there was a little bit of water, and I said, that's just a little bit. So I figured I'd throw it on her. But yeah, that was a blast. Looking back at it now, I threw it with some force. She didn't expect that at all. So I think that's it's a lot of fun, man. Hopefully I get to do some more stuff where I get to torture him, because it's a blast, you know.
Number 6, Raven almost cuts the power, WrestleMania 17. From top to bottom, everything on the WrestleMania 17 card came together to produce a beloved and celebrated pay-per-view event. One of the more underrated matches on the show saw Kane, Big Show and Raven face off in a chaotic yet thrilling hardcore match for the hardcore title. One of the infamous spots in the match saw Raven drive a golf cart into a mesh fence wall backstage, and this wall covered the wires that powered the entire building. Raven was legitimately just a few inches away from cutting the power to the entire arena. And speaking of Fightful, the wrestling veteran
That
gave
would
his
have been
recollection of the
crazy.
incident, but I ruined the greatest spot in the history of WrestleMania. We were supposed to be driving and the Big Show choking while I was driving, and I was supposed to drive all around the building with Kane driving behind us in hot pursuit. What happened was that there was a fence that looked like a wall fence, so I thought if I drove into it and bounced off, it would look cool because I was getting
that's kind of
choked by
weird
a
that it's just a
400-pound
fence,
guy.
though.
Then I hit the fence, didn't get back anything, and I just fell off the curb. But the best part is that I came within millimeters of turning off the power in the entire building. Number 5, WrestleMania 24's
Why would it be just a
pyro accident.
fence
WrestleMania
protecting
always
that?
has awe-inspiring pyro. Yet in 2008 at WrestleMania 24, the pyro used for the pay-per-view went horrifically wrong. When The Undertaker had defeated Edge to become world champion during the main event, an extravagant pyro display would ensue, yet unfortunately these fireworks malfunctioned as the fireworks landed into a group of fans. It's believed that around 40 fans were injured and some of these fans suffered burns. 3 fans left WrestleMania in an
Lawsuit.
ambulance as a result of their injuries, and the backlash and media attention was so severe that WWE were forced to issue a statement. We're investigating the incident and doing everything we can to find out why it happened and to make sure it never happens again. While we apologize to anyone who was injured and or alarmed by this occurrence, we take solace in the fact that the reported injuries were minor. Number 4,
I'll take my
Shango's
apology in a
flaming
check.
blunder, WrestleMania 8. The main event of WrestleMania 8 didn't exactly light the world on fire.
Or all blue
The main event
faces,
was a
whatever.
standard singles match between Hulk Hogan and Sid, and it ended
That's
in a DQ
crazy.
victory for
That's
Hogan.
scary.
The match was incredibly lackluster, especially when it comes to WrestleMania main events. The planned finish of the match was supposed to see Papa Shango break up a pin attempt from Hogan, yet Shango missed his cue, meaning that Sid had to kick out of a trademark Hogan leg drop. Charles Wright, who portrayed the spooky persona, discussed what went wrong during an interview with Schedule for 2 Falls.
The problem is that they knew that I was green, so they're like, don't go until we tell you to go. And so they were probably, for whatever reason, and I'm not going to say the person, but for whatever reason, I got the cue late. And once, so I didn't know. I'm sitting at the curtain, literally like,
Oh,
like
I hate
a
that
track
type
star
of
getting ready to
shit.
run. And it was a long ways, and I was probably 320 pounds. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna go. So they said, go, 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 go. Bam, I went. So once I got there, I was a little, oh shit, what's going on? Because I wasn't watching the monitors. I was kind of that. So, but I never heard anything about it years. And I mean years later. I'm now not wrestling. I'm doing autograph signings and stuff. And people are, hello, my wife. People are like, hey, what happened here? I'm like, what do you mean, what happened? Well, you missed the cue. I'm like, no, I didn't. And what do you mean? What do you mean?
Number 3, a botched ending, WrestleMania 35. The women of WWE took center stage at WrestleMania 35 as Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair main evented the show. While seeing Lynch become dual champion in WWE was incredible, the botch finish did ultimately overshadow the epic moment. The match finish saw Rousey attempt to hit a Piper's Pit on Lynch, yet this attempt was countered into a crucifix pin, and this managed to pin Rousey to the mat. The problem here was that this wasn't the planned finish, and Rousey's shoulders were clearly up. It's unclear what was supposed to be the finish of the match, as there are conflicting reports. But some reports at the time stated that Lynch was supposed to tap out Flair to disarm her, while some reports note that Lynch was supposed to make Rousey submit. Number 2, Mike Tyson goes off script, WrestleMania 14. One of the most iconic moments of WrestleMania 14 saw boxer Mike Tyson knock out Shawn Michaels. This was a scripted spot, yet the spot which saw Tyson place a Stone Cold t-shirt over HBK's face caused a ton of controversy. The spot in question was in the initial WrestleMania rundown, yet HBK believed the spot was disrespectful, so he insisted it was removed. But Tyson ultimately decided to do the spot anyway, which naturally made HBK, who was notoriously problematic at the time, absolutely livid. The former WWE champion was so angry that he attempted to confront Tyson at the post-show press conference, and he had to be physically stopped by Shane McMahon. And number 1, Stone Cold's blade job, WrestleMania 13. The word masterpiece is thrown around a lot when it comes to pro wrestling, yet the match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13 is an outstanding showcase of everything that is great about pro wrestling. The match featured a double turn, and it was responsible for creating one of the most influential and popular babyfaces of all time in Stone Cold. The most well-known element of the match is Austin's bloodshed, as Austin being covered in blood while screaming in pain is one of the main reasons the match connected with so many fans. Believe it or not, blood wasn't permitted for the match, as WWE had a strict no blood policy at the time.
My goodness.
It was Hart's idea to deviate away from WWE's rulebook, and Hart offered a fascinating
that
account
looks
on why he made the call during an
horrifying.
appearance on Edge and Christian's podcast. I said, "You don't want to take any chances at WrestleMania. Trust me. Let me do it." He trusted me. I remember one of the first things I learned in the business was to never let anyone do that to you, and Steve totally trusted me. I said, "Trust me, because I'll do it right." There could have been a lot of heat. I could have been in just as much trouble as Steve at that time. They had a no blood policy for a while, and the toy companies and everybody were on Vince's ass. So I was like, just let's pretend it was an accident. What are they gonna do? One thing's for sure, it made for an epic moment. But there you have it,
It's all
folks.
dripping into his
WrestleMania moments that
mouth.
were
Yeah,
never
that's
supposed to happen.
crazy.
Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some
All right, y'all, that's gonna do it for this reaction. Make sure y'all leave some likes and comments down below. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see y'all in the next one. Toodles.